Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're embarking on a really exciting deep dive
Hmm.
into a cinematic masterpiece that didn't just redefine time travel. It ignited imaginations everywhere,
Absolutely.
and somehow it made a DeLorean car like the coolest vehicle on the planet.
Still is, some might say.
Right. We're talking, of course, about Back to the Future, the iconic 1985 film.
A true classic.
So, our mission in this deep dive is basically to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, the key insights from our source material. We're using excerpts from Back to the Future, an elaborate journey through time.
It's a great source.
And by the end of our conversation today, you listening won't just remember the plot points. You'll have, we hope, a really solid understanding of the film's, intricate story.
Yeah, the mechanics of it.
Its unforgettable characters, and those deep themes that give it such staying power. It's all designed to give you that aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a shortcut to being genuinely well-informed about this huge cultural touchstone, even if you've seen it like 100 times.
Yeah. And what's truly fascinating here, beyond just how fun the movie is.
Which it absolutely is.
Oh, totally.
Okay.
It's how seamlessly it blends that high-concept science fiction with these incredibly relatable human stories.
Yeah.
It takes really complex ideas, cause and effect, destiny versus free will, personal transformation.
Big stuff.
Big stuff.
Yeah.
And it distills them into something universally understandable
Yeah.
and deeply engaging. So we'll be looking not just at what happens,
Right.
but really digging into why it still resonates so powerfully,
Yeah.
decades later.
Decades. It holds up so well.
It really does. And look, it's crucial to remember this wasn't just like a happy accident.
No way.
The pedigree is undeniable. You've got Robert Zemeckis directing Brilliant,
Mm-hmm.
and Steven Spielberg is executive producer.
Him has a powerhouse team right there.
Exactly. So this film arrived with a level of creative vision and just a meticulous execution that really set it apart. Our goal here is to peel back those layers, understand exactly how it got that status, how it became not just a beloved movie, but, like the source says, an iconic piece of 1980s pop culture.
Absolutely. And to really appreciate the extraordinary journey Back to the Future takes us on, we first need to set the stage. Hill Valley, 1985.
Right, the starting point.
This is the ordinary before that makes the after so impactful. Our story introduces us to Marty McFly.
Michael J. Fox, just perfect casting.
Perfect. The quintessential American teenager, right? Mid-80s. He's cool, laid back, got the hair, the swagger.
The skateboard.
The skateboard, yeah. And just that hint of rebelliousness that makes him instantly relatable, if you've ever been a teenager. Marty's also an aspiring rock musician, always dreaming of making it big with his band.
The Pinheads.
Right. And you see him with that skateboard just kind of effortlessly navigating suburbia. But while Marty might look like he has it all together, his home life is, well, anything but idyllic. Our source paints a pretty stark picture, calls it a dysfunctional family.
That's putting it mildly, maybe.
Yeah, his father, George McFly, portrayed as just completely timid.
Painfully so.
Painfully so. Bullied by his boss, Biff Tannen, just seems incapable of standing up for himself. At all. Then there's his mother, Lorraine. She's depicted as kind of bitter, maybe struggling with drinking.
Yeah, unhappy.
Often lamenting her choices, from when she was younger. His older siblings are described as aimless, just sort of drifting.
No ambition there.
None. The overall feeling you get from the McFly house in 85 is just stagnation. They're stuck in a rut. There's this palpable sense of almost bleakness about their future.
It's quite grounded, actually.
It is, surprisingly so for this kind of adventure film. It's a little depressing, frankly, to start with.
It is, but if we connect this to the bigger picture, that grounded, almost bleak portrayal, it's narratively crucial. Well, it gives you, the audience, a vital baseline. You need that to fully grasp just how dramatically things can change and how much they will change.
Right. It establishes the contrast.
Exactly. It highlights the before that makes the after so incredibly impactful. Setting up this relatable, even if it's a bit disheartening, reality serves that classic purpose. It makes the fantastical journey feel even more transformative.
Gives us an investment in Marty wanting something better.
Precisely. You're already rooting for things to improve. Now, into this kind of mundane, stagnant world steps one of cinema's truly memorable characters.
Doc Brown.
Dr. Emmett Brown. Christopher Lloyd, unforgettable.
Oh, completely.
Doc isn't just some inventor. He's Marty's best friend, which is, an unlikely pairing.
It really is. The age gap, the personality difference.
But it feels totally genuine. It works. Their friendship bridges that gap, and Doc's undeniable eccentricities.
He's definitely eccentric.
Yeah, he's considered crazy by a lot of people in town, always tinkering with weird contraptions in his cluttered garage.
Which looks amazing, by the way.
Oh, yeah. But Marty sees past that. He sees the genius, the kind heart underneath all the wild hair and, the shouting.
And their dynamic is fantastic, isn't it? It's the perfect foil for Marty's cool, casual thing.
Yeah, it bounces off well.
Our source material details how Marty often visits Doc's lab, sprawling, chaotic.
Mm-hmm. Wires everywhere.
You can just picture it. Wires, gadgets, half-finished experiments. It's in this setting that Marty gets that pivotal call from Doc.
The call that changes everything.
Exactly. The instructions are clear, but kind of mysterious, urgent. Meet him at the Twin Pines Mall parking lot later that night.
Dun, dun, dun.
For an important experiment. This is that first little crack in the ordinary world, isn't it? The first hint that something extraordinary is about to happen.
It really is. And it's worth noting, too, like you said about the family.
Yeah.
That dysfunction in 85, it immediately gives Marty this strong, maybe subconscious motivation. He already wants things to be better.
Even before time travel is even on the table.
Exactly. There's this built-in yearning for a different life, a different reality for his family, which raises an important question for you listening.
What's that?
What seeds of future change? What maybe latent desires for improvement do you think are already there in that seemingly fixed, kind of grim 1985 state?
That's a great point. The potential for change is already simmering, isn't it?
That's a key insight, I think. The setup, even though it seems fixed, it already contains this longing for something more, for a path not taken, which Marty, inadvertently ends up exploring.
Right.
This dysfunctional starting point isn't just background noise. It gives the whole fantastical journey a real emotional core, real stakes for Marty's later efforts.
Okay, so now we get to the mall. This is where it gets really interesting, where the film just stamps its iconic status.
The reveal.
That night, Twin Pines Mall, deserted parking lot, bathed in those eerie lights, Doc finally unveils his masterpiece.
Not just any invention.
No, forget dusty garages or theories. This is a full-blown time machine built into a DeLorean car.
A DeLorean. Still blows my mind.
Such an inspired choice. Those gull-wing doors, the stainless steel. It already looked like something from the future back in the 80s.
It really did. The perfect canvas.
And our source points out this thing is powered by plutonium.
Which immediately signals, serious energy. Dangerous stuff.
Definitely. And it's equipped with the flux capacitor.
The flux capacitor.
Pure fiction, but such an evocative name, described as the key to time travel. It's not just a cool car. It's like a meticulously crafted vessel for bending reality.
And Doc needs to prove it works.
Right. So he does a first test, sends his loyal dog, Einstein.
Good old Einstein.
1 minute into the future, everything seems to be going exactly to plan. This scientific marvel playing out right there in a mall parking lot.
It's mundane and epic all at once.
Exactly.
And what's fascinating about the DeLorean choice, beyond just how cool it looks, it's mobile. It can speed down roads. That makes the act of time travel itself dynamic, visually exciting. You could have chases, quick transitions.
That's true. It's not static.
It was a brilliantly practical choice for the film.
Yeah.
And the idea of needing specific things like plutonium and that abstract but crucial flux capacitor.
It makes it feel real somehow.
It grounds the science fiction. It gives you a sense of how this impossible tech might work, even if the physics are, complete fantasy.
Establishes its own rules.
Exactly. Perfect example of setting up internal logic, even for something as wild as time travel.
And then, bam, everything goes sideways. Instantly.
Yeah, the mood shifts fast.
The stakes just skyrocket. From this cool science demo to a desperate fight for survival, just as Einstein pops back from his minute in the future, this threat emerges.
The Libyans.
Libyan terrorists. Turns out Doc, in his enthusiasm,
call it enthusiasm,
had stolen the plutonium from them, and now they've tracked him down.
Big mistake, Doc.
Huge. They arrive, guns blazing, and just brutally shoot Doc Brown right in front of Marty.
It's shocking. Still shocking.
Utter panic, despair for Marty in this desperate split-second reaction, trying to escape the gunfire.
Instinct takes over.
He jumps in the DeLorean, fumbling with the controls, accidentally hits the time circuits, floors it.
And hits that magic number.
Races forward, the speedometer climbs, hits 88 miles per hour, and boom. He is instantly transported back to November 5, 1955.
Gone.
Just like that.
It's chaotic, it's accidental. He wasn't planning this. He was just trying to survive.
Yeah.
Which makes his situation, way more precarious.
Oh, absolutely. This is such a critical turning point. That terrorist attack isn't just a plot twist for suspense.
Oh.
It instantly jacks up the stakes. Life or death. And this sudden, forced, accidental journey, it puts Marty at a huge disadvantage.
He's completely unprepared.
No plan, no backup, just reacting to pure terror, which raises another question for you listening.
Go on.
How do you think this accidental reactive plunge into the past shapes Marty's whole experience and the choices he makes, compared to, say, if he'd gone intentionally, maybe with Doc, with the mission brief?
Yeah, that's interesting. It feels much more desperate this way. It does. And that 88 mile per hour of detail, just genius. So simple, so memorable.
Instantly iconic.
A specific, actionable trigger. It grounds the fantasy in something concrete. It became cinematic legend overnight, didn't it?
Yeah.
That number is just synonymous with time travel now.
It's the number. It really is. So now Marty finds himself totally stranded in the past.
Utterly alone.
Crashes into a barn, nearly takes out a farmer.
Old man Peabody runs over one of his pines.
Right, which becomes Lone Pine Mall later. It's brilliant. After the shock wears off, he realizes he's landed in 1955, specifically November 5th.
The exact same day.
The exact same day Doc Brown first conceived the idea for time travel.
The irony is just delicious.
Incredible, right? He's literally at the birth moment of the invention that stranded him there.
Yeah.
But it's not just the date that's jarring.
No, the whole world is different.
The culture, the norms, his clothes, his modern slang, his skateboard, they immediately make him stick out like a sore thumb in the conservative 50s.
He's an alien.
Totally. A walking anachronism. As he's roaming Hill Valley, seeing familiar places, familiar people like his parents, but young.
Surreal.
You can just feel his shock, his disorientation. You're immediately immersed in his problem.
And this immediately kicks off a whole complex set of escalating problems for him. It's not just, how do I get home anymore?
Right.
That cultural dissonance, it's funny, yeah, but it's also a constant reminder of how precarious things are.
He could mess things up just by talking.
Exactly. His very existence there is a potential threat to the timeline. He has to deal with being an outsider, drawing attention he really doesn't want.
So his first thought, naturally,
Find Doc.
find the only person who could possibly understand. He tracked down 1955 Doc Brown.
A younger, maybe slightly less manic Doc?
Slightly. Still brilliant, though. But understandably, initially skeptical. I mean, a teenager from the future shows up with a time machine car.
You'd be skeptical, too.
I would be. But our source confirms he eventually believes Marty, seeing the DeLorean itself.
The physical proof.
And crucially, that drawing Marty has of the flux capacitor.
The drawing.
That concrete, impossible detail, something way beyond 1955 tech. That's what convinces him.
And that dynamic between the two Docs is just great. You know, older, wiser Marty explaining stuff to the younger Doc.
Who's still figuring things out.
And this immediate trust forms, despite how completely absurd the whole situation is.
Yeah, their chemistry is instant, even across time. But then, just when there's a glimmer of hope, the next massive problem hits.
The power issue.
The power problem. Doc reveals the critical hurdle. Sending the DeLorean back needs an insane amount of power. 1.21 gigawatts of electricity.
Which sounds like a lot, especially for 1955.
It's almost mythical back then, totally beyond their tech. Doc explains there's only one possible source.
A bolt of lightning.
A lightning strike, which sounds completely impossible, right? Relying on an act of nature.
Like catching lightning in a bottle, literally.
Exactly. But here's where the film's clever plotting, maybe that touch of cosmic luck, comes in.
The flyer.
Conveniently, Marty still has that crumpled flyer from 1985. And it explicitly mentions a lightning strike will hit the Hill Valley clock tower in a few days.
At a very specific time.
Yes. Talk about a stroke of luck or fate.
Maybe a bit of both.
This tiny detail immediately gives them a clear goal and, crucially, a ticking clock.
The race is on.
With this knowledge, the impossible plan starts to take shape. They begin meticulously planning how to harness that lightning strike. Send Marty back. It's a race against time itself.
And that 1.21 gigawatts and the lightning solution, it's just narrative genius.
Why do you say that?
Well, first, like you said, clear goal, ticking clock, urgency in every scene now.
Right.
Second, it's specific, dramatic, visually exciting. You can immediately picture harnessing lightning. It's cinematic gold.
Definitely.
And third, that serendipitous flyer detail. It highlights the clever plotting, sure, but also reinforces that theme of fate, maybe intertwining with free will.
Like maybe he was meant to find it.
Maybe. Or at least the universe provides the means when the need is there. It's a perfect example of grounding the fantasy in a clear, understandable, and very high-stakes objective. It creates a solvable problem, even if the solution feels almost like a miracle.
Okay, so they have a plan to get home, but then this is where it gets really messy.
A core conflict emerges.
Right. While Marty's trying to lay low, figure out the lightning plan, he accidentally disrupts a critical moment in history.
The moment his parents were supposed to meet.
Exactly. He sees his future dad, George, about to get hit by a car. Instinctively, Marty jumps in, saves him.
Seems like the right thing to do. Heroic, even.
On the surface, yeah. But our source reveals the crucial, devastating consequence. George was supposed to be hit. And Lorraine, his future mom, was supposed to fall in love with him right then, nursing him back to health. That near miss, that moment, that was the spark.
The meet-cute moment that wasn't.
Precisely.
And this is exactly where the film brings in that profound central conflict. The theme of cause and effect.
It becomes incredibly personal.
Hugely. It's not just about getting Marty home anymore. Now it's about preserving his entire existence. Because instead of George and Lorraine meeting like they were supposed to,
Lorraine falls for Marty.
Lorraine becomes infatuated with Marty, her rescuer.
Oh, dear.
Which creates the core paradox. The terrifying realization, if Lorraine and George don't fall in love, Marty will never be born.
The stakes just went existential.
Absolutely. From adventure to a fight for his very being. The film does not shy away from how serious this is.
And it gives us that brilliant, chilling visual for it, too.
The photograph.
As the timeline unravels, Marty's photo of his siblings begins to fade, erasing them from existence.
It's so simple, but so effective. So terrifying.
It shows immediately, viscerally, that his actions are having catastrophic ripple effects, literally erasing his family, himself, before our eyes.
That fading photograph is just a masterclass in visual storytelling. It's a brilliant shortcut. Communicates the severity of the paradox instantly, emotionally, without needing some clunky explanation.
You feel it.
You really do. It's a constant escalating threat hanging over him. And this situation immediately forces Marty, who started as this kind of laid-back kid, to take on immense responsibility and courage.
He has to fix it.
He has to. He traveled through time to escape his present, only to find himself responsible for ensuring his own future. Which raises another point.
Yeah.
How does this huge, unforeseen, deeply personal responsibility transform Marty? From that casual kid into someone who actively, desperately, courageously has to shape his own destiny.
It forces him to grow up fast.
It really does. It's a powerful narrative choice. Puts the onus squarely on him to fix the mess he accidentally made.
So he's not just a time traveler anymore. He's like a reluctant matchmaker.
Pretty much. Architect of his own past, accidentally.
His new monumental mission is horrifyingly clear. He must now play matchmaker. Help awkward George build confidence, win over Lorraine.
Which is full of comedic potential, right?
Yeah.
This cool 80s kid trying to coach his nerdy dad in 50s romance.
Hilarious. But naturally, there's a complication, an antagonist. Biff Tannen, described as a bullying brute. He relentlessly harasses George, and he's aggressively pursuing Lorraine.
The classic obstacle.
He's the force keeping George down, preventing him from finding his voice, his courage.
And what's fascinating here is how Marty isn't just observing history, he's actively, almost frantically, shaping it.
He has no choice.
Right. This whole sequence beautifully illustrates that coming-of-age theme. For Marty, taking on this huge responsibility.
Yeah.
And maybe even more profoundly, for George, who has to find this inner courage he never knew he had.
Biff is key to that, isn't he?
Absolutely. Biff isn't just a simple villain. He's the catalyst for George's transformation. He represents those oppressive forces George has lived under, the embodiment of his fears.
So confronting Biff is confronting his own weakness.
Exactly. That confrontation becomes the real test, which raises another angle. How does Biff represent those external forces, maybe fate or circumstance, that George has to overcome through his own free will in finding that courage?
It's a personal battle for his own destiny, played out with fists.
You got it. It's a very personal battle.
So with Doc's help, ingenious, slightly madcap help.
As always with Doc.
Marty cooks up this clever, convoluted plan. They orchestrate a scenario. George rescues Lorraine at the school dance.
The enchantment under the sea dance.
Iconic. This is the moment. George and Lorraine must share their first kiss here to ensure Marty's existence.
The pressure is immense.
The plan is elaborate, like a stage play. Marty arranges for Biff's cronies to harass Lorraine, setting up a fake damsel in distress moment.
So George can swoop in.
Exactly. Let George be the hero, boost his confidence. Classic setup, designed to give George that moment he desperately needs.
It's this meticulously planned intervention in the past, isn't it?
Yeah.
A dramatic gamble with reality itself.
Totally.
But it's not just about engineering a romance. It's fundamentally about changing George's character.
Helping him find something inside himself.
Helping him unlock potential he didn't know he had. It's kind of a subtle commentary, maybe, on how pivotal moments, even orchestrated ones, can redefine a person's path. The whole plan hinges on George having that latent courage somewhere deep down, and Marty just providing the catalyst, the circumstances for it to finally emerge.
But, like all good plans in movies,
Nothing goes wrong.
there's an unexpected, dangerous twist. Our source says Biff himself shows up, not the cronies. Biff.
Oh boy.
And he tries to assault Lorraine. Derails the whole plan, creates a genuinely terrifying situation.
This is the real moment of truth, then.
Exactly. Where George's transformation has to become real, authentic. Faced with this actual threat to Lorraine, George, he finds it. Finding unexpected courage, punches Biff.
Yes, that punch.
Knocks him out cold. This single act of bravery, not staged, but real, it earns him Lorraine's respect and, crucially, her genuine love.
It's his defining moment.
Total self-actualization for George. From timid victim to confident hero, a true coming of age.
And this is the dramatic payoff, right? The emotional, thematic culmination, that theme of responsibility and courage, finds its most potent expression right here. Yep. George's single act of courage, born from real threat, not some setup, it fundamentally alters his entire future. It directly shows the film's core message. You can influence your destiny through choice.
Acting bravely even when scared.
Exactly. Choosing to act despite the fear. And then later, at the dance, after the Biff drama, another iconic moment.
Johnny be good.
Marty on stage playing guitar, livening things up, a joyful release, and then, the moment we've all been waiting for, the visual confirmation.
The photo.
When his parents kiss on the dance floor, the timeline is restored. His siblings reappear in the photograph.
Whew, relief.
That restoration, it's the ultimate visual and emotional payoff for you, the viewer. A clear, instant sign. Marty succeeded. His existence is secure. So satisfying.
It really is. Deeply satisfying moment, cementing his success. So, romance resolved, timeline secure. Now Marty has one final urgent task.
Get back to 1985.
Racing against time, he rushes back to the clock tower at the site of that impending lightning strike, where Doc has rigged up this elaborate, frankly terrifying,
Contraption.
complicated system to channel the lightning bolt into the DeLorean. You can feel the tension building, storm raging, clock ticking.
Down to the second.
Our source describes a suspenseful sequence involving missed cables and timing. Real nail-biter stuff. Everything has to align perfectly. Seconds, separating success from disaster.
And that clock tower sequence, it raises an important point about the filmmaking itself. It's just a masterclass in cinematic tension.
Totally edge of your seat.
Every element, the storm, the cable swaying, the precise clock timing, it's all meticulously designed to keep you absolutely gripped.
Holding your breath.
It's the ultimate test of Doc's ingenuity. His crazy engineering and Marty's resolve. His courage under insane pressure. That lightning strike at 10:04 p.m., it's the culmination. Pure spectacle, unbelievable precision.
Highlights the detail in the film's planning, doesn't it? Narrative, execution, down to the minute.
Absolutely.
And at that exact electrifying moment, the lightning strikes at exactly 10:04 p.m., sends that colossal surge into the DeLorean,
0.21 gigawatts.
and successfully propels Marty back to 1985. But before he leaves 55,
The letter.
he remembers Doc's tragic fate in his time, getting shot by the terrorists. So he writes Doc this heartfelt letter, warning him.
Trying to save him.
A desperate gesture, even if it messes with Doc's timeline. It's about caring for his friend.
But Doc's reaction to that letter, it's profoundly telling.
Yeah.
Philosophically significant.
He tears it up.
Our source confirms Doc tears it up, insisting he doesn't want to know the future.
Wow.
This decision, it embodies that whole debate. Fate and free will. Is ignorance bliss? Or is knowledge power something to alter destiny? It poses that dilemma for you, listening.
What would you do?
Yeah. If you could know a future danger, would you want to? Or let destiny unfold? Doc's initial rejection is a key character beat. Suggests this belief in letting things happen naturally, even if they're dangerous.
Protecting the timeline, maybe?
Perhaps. It's a powerful statement about control, or releasing control, over destiny.
And what a twist it is. Such a brilliant subversion of what we expect. Marty arrives back in 1985. Lone Pine Mall.
Not Twin Pines anymore.
Right, because he ran over that pine tree in 55. Subtle, clever detail showing the ripples. He gets there just moments before Doc is shot, reliving that nightmare.
Heart must be pounding.
But this time, something's different. As the terrorists open fire, Doc is unbelievably wearing a bulletproof vest.
Yes, the cheer moment.
Immediate, stunning reveal. You gasp, you cheer. Total cinematic triumph.
And what's fascinating here is how the film pays off that cause and effect theme so beautifully and subtly redefines Doc's character arc.
How so?
Well, he initially, dramatically, tore up the letter,
right.
insisted he didn't want to know, stuck to his principles.
Yeah.
But our source reveals that wonderful bit of pragmatic genius. He had taped Marty's letter back together and taken precautions.
Practical Doc.
He decided to accept his fate while still protecting himself. This subtle detail, it highlights Doc's intellectual evolution. He rejected knowing, maybe for integrity, but ultimately embraced the practical ability to adapt, protect himself with that knowledge.
Foresight doesn't have to mean fatalism.
Exactly. It underscores the active role we can play in our own destiny, informed action. It's a testament to ingenuity, the capacity for change, even for someone as principled as Doc.
It's a great moment. Pragmatic brilliance from Doc. Blends his genius with this newfound respect for consequences, and the implications of Marty's actions in 55 just ripple out, transforming his present in these incredible positive ways.
The payoff.
Marty gets home, finds everything has changed. Yeah. His once dysfunctional family, now vibrant, successful, and confident.
Night and day difference.
George, no longer timid. He's a confident published author, a testament to the courage he found standing up to Biff.
Changed his whole life.
Lorraine, transformed, happy and healthy. No bitterness, no drinking apparent. His siblings, successful, well-adjusted. Even Biff.
Oh, Biff's transformation is maybe the most satisfying.
Right. No longer a bully, but a humbled car washer. Now subservient to the McFlys, waxing George's car.
Poetic justice.
And Marty, he gets his dream truck. Gleaming symbol of his new reality, perfect cherry on top.
And this is the full impact of cause and effect laid bare. It's magnificent, a triumph of growth, self-determination.
Seeing the results so clearly.
We see the direct, tangible results of Marty's actions in 55 ripple forward, creating this incredibly positive alternative future for the whole family. It's a powerful statement. Small acts of courage,
like George's punch,
or even Marty's choice to interfere, they can have enormous lasting impacts, reshape not just lives, but legacies.
Gives you hope, doesn't it?
It offers you, the listener, this profound sense of hope that positive change is always possible. Even from small shifts, finding inner courage. It reinforces that idea, who we are, who our families become. It's not fixed by fate. It's a dynamic outcome of choices, seizing moments.
And just when you think, okay, story's wrapped up, neat bow, happy ending.
Bam, the cliffhanger.
One of the most iconic cliffhangers ever. Bold stroke. Brilliantly sets up the franchise. Marty reunites with Jennifer.
Finally gets the girl back.
Moment of triumph, relief. But it's short-lived. Just as they're about to go on a normal date, Doc reappears. DeLorean screams into view.
And it's upgraded.
Remarkably upgraded. Now uses fusion for fuel. Mr. Fusion.
Huge leap from plutonium. Suggests whole new possibilities.
Exactly.
And connecting this to the bigger picture. That ending is marketing genius, sure. But it's also a fantastic narrative device.
How so?
It suggests that even when one problem is solved, life, especially life with time travel, always throws new challenges at you.
Never truly over.
It cemented the film not just as a standalone classic, but as the start of this beloved saga. And that shift to fusion power, brilliant detail, suggests bigger adventures, fewer constraints, liberates the narrative for sequels.
And Doc delivers the line, the one that launched everything.
Roads. Where we're going, we don't need roads. Oh, wait, that's the very end. Before that.
Right, before that. He tells Marty they have to go back to the future again. This time, the mission. Help their future children.
Whoa. Didn't see that coming the first time.
Total surprise. Immediate call to action. Flips the script. Their journey is far from over. And that final shot, etched in pop culture memory.
DeLorean lifting off.
Lights blazing, flies through the sky, vanishes, leaves you absolutely desperate for the next chapter. what new temporal mess awaits?
Which raises a final important question for you, listening.
Why's that?
What does this open-ended conclusion imply about the ongoing responsibility that comes with this immense power, the power of time travel?
It's not a toy.
Exactly. It suggests the ability to meddle isn't a one-time fix. It's a continuous, maybe even burdensome commitment, full of unforeseen consequences, new problems popping up from the solutions themselves.
Power comes with enduring commitment, new responsibilities.
That seems to be the implication.
Wow, what a ride through Hill Valley. Past, future. It's incredible how much insight, how much pure entertainment is packed into this one story.
Meticulously crafted.
Truly. We've had a really deep dive into the core of Back to the Future, peeled back the layers, hopefully given you some fresh perspectives, even if you know it well.
Hope so.
And looking back, it's so clear why it endured. Not just cool effects or a fun plot. It's packed with these profound, overarching themes that just resonate.
Universally.
First, cause and effect. What Back to the Future does so well here, maybe unlike other time travel stories, it focuses on the small scale.
The personal impact.
Yeah. Not just grand history, but how one small interpersonal shift, George finding courage, ripples through a whole family's micro-history. Creates a fundamentally different, better future. It's a powerful argument for individual agency. Personal butterfly effect.
Absolutely. And that ties directly into that delicate balance, fate and free will.
Right.
Marty learns he can influence destiny, yeah, but he has to act wisely, courageously. The film brilliantly balances the idea that maybe some history is supposed to happen. With the real power, individuals have to change their path. It implies that while some events might be fated, how we react, the choices we make within those moments, those are acts of free will that can radically shape reality.
Destiny isn't fixed, it's a canvas we paint on.
Well put, a dynamic canvas.
And then, coming of age. Timeless theme, but here it's remarkably dual-layered.
Not just Marty.
Not just Marty, it's profoundly George's journey, too. Marty grows up, sure, forced into this almost parental role for his own parents.
Seeing them as real people.
Seeing them as real people with struggles, fears, dreams back in 55. Not just the disappointing figures from 85. And George's arc. Masterclass in latent potential. Shows courage isn't always just there. It can be learned, sparked, even by weird interventions.
Finding the hero within.
Yeah.
Which leads right to that overarching theme. Responsibility and courage. Both Marty and George learn to take charge.
In different ways.
Marty, just trying to get home, ends up taking responsibility for his whole family's future. Basically saves them all. And George, through Marty's nudging and his own struggle, finds the courage to face Biff, unlocking a better life for everyone.
It's a powerful dual narrative of self-actualization. Shows how transformative one brave act can be.
For sure.
This film really is a genre-defining classic because it blended humor, real heart, and that high-concept sci-fi so seamlessly.
The trifecta.
The tight script, those charismatic performances, Fox, Lloyd, unforgettable, and Zemeckis' inventive direction, instant hit. Critics, audiences, everyone loved it.
And still do.
Its lasting cultural impact goes way beyond the sequels. It's just cemented as this iconic piece of pop culture.
Yeah.
Still charming, still inspiring new generations, timeless appeal.
Which raises that final question for us, maybe for you too. What elements of Back to the Future story, its themes, allow it to stay so relevant, so beloved, even now, decades later?
What do you think?
Well, I think it's because it deals with those universal themes, family, destiny, agency, standing up for yourself, but through this exciting, accessible, endlessly rewatchable lens of time travel.
Yeah.
It's deeply relatable despite the fantasy. It serves as this constant reminder that our own lives are shaped by choices, by courage, and yeah, maybe a little bit of unexpected luck sometimes.
Okay, wow, what a journey that was through Hill Valley, past and future. It's genuinely incredible how much insight, how much fun is packed into this single story.
It really holds up.
We've had a truly deep dive into the core of Back to the Future, peeled back those layers, and hopefully given you some fresh perspectives, even on a classic you thought you knew inside out.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Now for you, our listener, here's a thought to maybe ponder as you go about your day. If you personally could go back to one pivotal moment in your own family's history,
Ooh, interesting.
armed with the knowledge, the courage you have now, would you change anything? And crucially, what unforeseen ripples, good or bad, might that create in your own present, your own personal timeline?
That's a heavy one, but a good one.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, Back to the Future isn't just a fun ride in a cool car.
No.
It's a profound look at how our past shapes our present and how our choices however small, however accidental sometimes, can fundamentally redefine our future. It reminds us that every moment, every decision, every act of courage, it's a chance to influence our own destiny.
Food for thought.
So, consider this. While we can't literally time travel yet, anyway.
Maybe Doc's working on it.
Maybe. But the lessons of cause and effect, the power of personal responsibility, that quiet strength of courage, they are profoundly applicable to our daily lives. This deep dive should leave you thinking about your own power, your power to shape your personal timeline right here, right now.